If you are a frequent listener to the podcast, you know that we have been sponsored by Fuji Sports for quite some time now. Whether you're looking for apparel, equipment, bags, or accessories, Fuji Sports has got it covered. Go to fujisports.com to see the latest selection of everything you need for your jiu-jitsu, judo, or MMA journey. That's fujisports.com. Let me take a minute to tell you about RŌL TV. If you're looking to take your jiu-jitsu to the next level and supplement your BJJ education, then RŌL TV has you covered. RŌLAcademy.tv has over 1,500 videos covering individual techniques, positions, and concepts, including seminars and workshops with top-level competitors and instructors like Chris Wojcik, Robert Drysdale, Aaron Hurley, Emily Kwok, and more. Whether you are a beginner or a more advanced student, RŌL TV is the online platform that can take your jiu-jitsu to the next level. What's up, everyone, and welcome back. If you haven't already, please hit the like, share, subscribe, download, listen, and whatever other button there is, and leave us a review wherever you listen. This helps us bring you the great guests and amazing content that you've come to expect. In this conversation, Thomas's guest shares his insights on the mindset required for success in jiu-jitsu, the importance of separating competition from personal relationships, and the ongoing journey of a martial artist. He discusses the challenges of injuries, the evolution of jiu-jitsu, and the significance of performance over results, emphasizing the need for resilience, a supportive environment, and the continuous learning that comes with being a martial artist. Here's the RŌL Radio with an IBJJF American National Gi and Nogi champion, IBJJF World Nogi Bronze and IBJJF Pan Am Bronze winner, a fighter out of Action and Reaction MMA in Toronto, and representing Team Cicero Costha, Kyle Sleeman.
Welcome to RŌL Radio.
And we are live. Kyle, welcome to the show. Welcome to the RŌL Radio. Thanks for visiting and spending part of your day with me today. How's your day going? I heard good morning so far.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. It's a great honor to be invited on your show. Yeah, my day is going great. I just got back from the vegetable market and stocked up on a week of vegetables, fresh fruits and vegetables, and some nice honey and things like that for my diet leading up to World's Masters. So it's been a great morning so far, and then I got some training this afternoon, so can't ask for nothing more, right?
Living the dream, don't you?
Living the dream, brother.
But more importantly, let's get this out of the way. Some really cool, awesome guys are who have named Thomas, and we shared that. We have that in common, don't we? So
yes, sir.
We need to acknowledge that right off the bat, right?
My middle name is Thomas, yeah, and my grandfather's name was Thomas, and yeah.
Well, there you go. We're surrounded by awesome guys, so that's the important part.
Love it.
As I was doing research and getting to know you offline indirectly before this conversation, I can't help notice that you love smashing people. What is with this obsession behind pressure and driving forward and just nailing people to the floor?
So ultimately, it comes down to the need to succeed. And in order for me to succeed in high-level competition, I have to use what works for me. And I feel like over the years, pressure passing and things like that have been my specialty. So I just love honing in on, not letting guys play their game. When I go into a match or a competition, I don't want to let you play your game. I'm not there to play jiu-jitsu. I'm there to beat you. And in order to beat you, I got to smash.
And I think that's often misunderstood in jiu-jitsu competition particularly. I feel like some go to make friends almost. Some go to, hey, listen, let's exchange numbers, let's hang out and all that. Do you feel the same way, or is it all business for you?
No, actually, beforehand, my competitors are somebody it's a tool to help me grow. All my competitors I keep in touch with, I want to train with. They're they're allies, they're friends, they're other human beings with the same passion. How could I dislike somebody with the same passion as me? I don't dislike anybody, but when I'm there to compete, we're there to compete, right? I'm there to win. I'm not there to hurt you, but I'm there to win. I'm there to compete the best I can. I'm there to become the best that I can be. And you are a tool to help me get there.
So walk me through that in your mind. I mean, again, there's a lot of guys out there who are in similar situations. Perhaps they are starting at the beginning of that journey. And I think that's a big struggle for many who step into the arena of competition. It is you and the other person. And from one side, it's almost like an oxymoron. From one side, they are there to make you better. They are there to point out flaws and mistakes and errors that you might make so you can grow. But from the other side, it's all business. Like they're a stepping stone to the next one. So some might say, or even think that this is a conflict here. You're not thinking this straight here. Let me in on how this unfolds in your mind.
Well, myself as a competitor and myself as a person off the mats are two different people. And I had to learn over time how to flip that switch.
And that's hard, isn't it?
It took a lot of years of development and looking up and researching my own sports psychology and things like that to figure out how to flip that switch. I have no ill will towards my opponent, but I'm there to play jiu-jitsu. Like I'm there to compete against you hard, right? And I expect the same thing back. I don't want you to go easy on me. I want you to smash me because that's what I need to grow, right? Before the match, after the match, we can be awesome friends. During the match, we're still like, I'm still your friend, but like this is a competition, right?
That speaks volumes about maturity, like the ability to say, hey, listen, let's shake hands, life is good, we can hang out afterwards, but right now business is business. And the emotional segregation, I wouldn't call it a disconnect perhaps, but the segregation of, okay, it's a showtime, okay, so I got to put everything that happened aside, and then we are here to do the job is a job, and we show up as professionals no matter what the feelings, emotions, circumstances might be. We are here to do what we are designed to do, which is to compete in jiu-jitsu. And I think it's difficult to do this, but it's even more challenging, and this is the pivot point, when we know that person personally, if they are our good friends, if they are our training partners. Have you ever been in that situation where you actually had to challenge yourself against a peer or somebody who you are close with?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So that's why I don't compete in Canada anymore, because I know everybody in Canada. I've trained with everybody, and I don't want to flip that switch on somebody who I really like personally. That's why I only just do the IBJJF in the States, where I can compete against somebody I don't know. I do know some of the guys. I've competed against some of the guys, but I also, like, before the match, I'll give you an example. At American Nationals, okay, in the finals match, I seen the guy in the bullpen that I was going to go up against in the finals. I went over and I introduced myself. I said, hey, my name's Kyle. I understand you're Eric, and we're going to compete against each other in the finals. And we started talking. I said, yeah, man, I want you to put it to me. I want to go hard. I want to have a good competition match. And let's make a deal. He said, what's the deal? I said, how about the loser buys the acai bowls and we'll have a chat after the match? He said, deal, you're on. Right? So now I know he's going to bring it.
Yeah.
And that's what I want.
Yeah.
I want you to bring it.
All right, let me ask you about this. So is this a psychological, or is this a strategic game to engage? So they engage, or this is a genuine, hey, listen, let's get to know each other? Do you see where I'm going with this?
I do, but I don't look that deep into it. But a lot of the times when I am warming up in the bullpen, I'm getting serious, I'm getting mean. I'm ready to compete. I flip that switch, and I feel a lot of the times me getting ready before the match breaks people before the match even starts.
Well, and this is why I'm asking this. Is this strategic? Maybe even subconsciously strategic? Because look, okay, you didn't go
Could
up to
be.
him. You didn't go up to him. He doesn't know about acai bowl. He might take this match completely differently because now you're in his mind. And some might say, well, listen, now you are in his mind, which means you achieved what you wanted to achieve. I mean, this can be really flipped both directions, can it?
Yeah, it sure can. Yeah, you're right. I didn't really look at it like that. I just looked at it like, okay, we have 20 minutes till our match, and I seen him in the bullpen. I'm not just gonna I don't know. I just seen him, and I'm like, hey, by the way, my name's Kyle, and let's go hard. And he's like, yeah, let's fucking go hard. I'm like, yeah, that's right. I'm like, you want to make a deal? He's like, sure. What's the deal? And then I said, the loser buys an acai bowl. So we went hard. I won the match, and we went and had an acai bowl and talked about the match. And I said what he did well, and he told me what I did well, and then we shook hands, and away we went. That was it.
I feel like jiu-jitsu is one of those handful of activities or sports where interactions like this can exist in a healthy way. I feel like this doesn't happen in many other sports. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I definitely would agree with that. Yeah, I definitely would.
There's a lot of competition is one, but there's a lot of this counter against each other. I feel like in other sports, which it might create a very healthy and a competing environment. But I think in jiu-jitsu is this unique environment where somebody said this actually some time ago, and that stuck in my mind. Like jiu-jitsu is the only activity where you come in with a smile on your face, get choked out, leave with a smile on your face, and you paid for it. Like, how is this? Don't you feel the same way?
Yeah, we're kind of a different breed, aren't we?
Yeah, certainly. Why do you think that is? Why do you think we developed this unique bond, unique relationship?
Well, for me, against my competitors, I know you've worked just as hard as me, and I respect that. Especially as a black belt, you've put in a lot of work, and that's a respectful thing, especially in the field that I love the most. I'm so passionate of. So man, you've put in a lot of work. And especially if I lose a match, I make sure to give you the respect you deserve. I raise your hand in the match. I show people how I act in defeat. It's all about how it's leadership as well. You don't have to always win to be a leader, right? So a lot of it is showing respect where it's deserved as well. Because I know that if you beat me, you put in just as much work as me, and I put in a lot of friggin' work. So, man, you earn respect. You work hard, you earn respect, and there's no two ways around that, right? Whereas in other sports like hockey and things like that, it's a team thing where you don't know how skilled each individual is. You know what I mean?
I don't think we even have to look far. Like you mentioned hockey, but I'm even thinking MMA. That's a very different environment, especially recently, the last few years. I feel like there's a lot of trash talking, which I feel like there's always lines of professionalism, and I understand why fighters talk trash, and it happens in jiu-jitsu too. You draw the attention, and attention makes money. I get all this, not naive here. However, there are these lines, and I feel like they are very easily crossed, and that doesn't happen as often in jiu-jitsu. So if those two sports are so close to each other, matter of fact, some might say that one sourced from the other, how come in MMA this I don't know, these lines, the professional lines are being crossed, and you're describing something completely different here. You're listen, we're here we show up, we do work, we are professionals, we're gonna do, you work hard, I work hard, let's best one win, and we don't have to talk about it. Respect is important. I think, I feel, go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like people who trash talk their opponents, I feel like that's coming from deep down inside of like unconfidence. Like, why do you need to act like that? You're almost like faking your own confidence and trying to make your opponent scared.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's internal unconfidence in yourself, but you're hiding it with trash talk.
Yeah.
That's what I feel. It's kind of like this. If you notice in a match, when I get my hand raised, I never smile because I expected myself to win. But when you see people like, yeah, and they win, to me, that shows that you didn't expect to win. And you're like so happy that, oh my God, I did win. Right? So it's like that whole loudness and that talk, trash talk, and that, yeah, I feel like that's just deep down unconfidence in yourself.
Would you say then that your prediction of a result initiates or is born way before the match?
Yeah, for sure. I train so hard that I expect myself to win every match. And if I don't, that's where you earn my respect, and I'll raise your hand in the match because I train so hard that I expect every match. I expect to win every match. I don't expect to ever get scored on, ever.
Okay,
Ever.
let me dig into this a little bit more because this is intriguing to me. When you are stepping in a stage of competition, you can only control half of the event. You can only control you. You cannot control what the other person does. Matter of fact,
Right.
with some argument, you don't even know who the person is. You don't know how hard they
Correct.
train. You don't know what's in their mind. You don't know what their mental state. You don't know their motivation. So there's so many layers here. What in the world gives you the confidence of saying, this is going my way?
That's a great question. Now, here's how I think. I can only worry about what I can control. I can't control the outcome of the match. So I can't worry about winning and losing. Winning and losing doesn't really cross my mind. What crosses my mind is what I can control. I can control my diet. I can control how much cardio and effort I put into that. I can control how much I'm lifting. I can control how much effort I'm putting into drilling. I can control how much rolling I'm doing. And if all those pieces are at 100%, then my chances of winning are greater. And if everything's at 100%, then in my mind, I can't lose. Because I've done everything possible within my control. And if I do lose, that's out of my control, and that's okay. It's fine.
Okay.
It's okay.
So let me ask you this.
I'm after winning, yes, but I'm more after performance. If I can perform, then the side effect is winning.
And I think this.
So I'm after performance.
Many people misunderstand this. The performance and result are two different things.
Correct.
You can perform at 100%, you can still lose, or you can even perform under 100% and you can still win, right? So this is so misunderstood in general. Just I'm not even talking about sports or jiu-jitsu, just in life.
Correct. We actually had the Virginia Open a couple weeks ago, and one of our students there, he lost his purple belt match, and he came over and he was so down on himself. I said, "Man, you performed." I said, "You did so well. You did amazing. You just didn't get your hand raised today, but you did so awesome. You should be so proud of yourself because in my eyes, man, that guy performed. He just didn't get his hand raised today, and that's okay." It's not called winning. It's called competing.
Yeah.
Like when we go fishing, it's called fishing. It's not called catching. You can be the best fisherman in the world, and if you don't catch anything that day, does that mean you suck at fishing? No.
No, this is such a great analogy. I've never heard this before, and I love this. But look, if this is so simple, why majority, and I mean 99% of people, don't listen to that advice?
Because a lot of people worry about the physical aspect of training and not the mental aspect of training. And the mental aspect of training comes with years and years and years of experience. I probably have 500 to 600 jiu-jitsu competition matches that each time you develop
but still,
the mental game.
Kaya, I'm going to dig into this then. You have 500 to 600 matches. Your students don't. So one would say, listen, idiot, Listen to the guy who knows what he's talking about. And again, most people don't. Why? Why is this so difficult for us as humans? We want to get better, or at least we think we do. And then when push comes to shove and somebody gives us the recipe, simply say, listen, show up. Here's what you got to do. Just follow this stupid, dumb plan that I'm giving it to you. All you got to do is turn your mind off and follow the steps. This is where we fail.
You could write the script for somebody, but they have to develop it through trial and error themselves. It's kind of like if you take a white belt and you're like, this is how you armbar, and you show him perfect. He's still not going to get it yet.
Yeah.
It takes time, and your brain has to catch up to the level of understanding to really get it. You know what I'm saying?
Is this why most people give up?
In competition, a lot of people give up because their mindset is on winning. And if they're not winning, then they just give up. A lot of times in the training room, if they're not competition, people try and like gauge their progress on another person that's even with them. And if that other person gets better than them, they mentally can't handle it. And so they say, oh, I'm not progressing at the rate. I might be too old, or I might be this, or I got kids. And it doesn't matter. You just have to continue through trial and error and self-development. Right?
But many will say, like, look, guys are listening to this and they're going to be like, okay, yeah, Kyle, I get it. You know, you're lucky. Life took you in this direction and it was easy for you. And now you have these 500 matches behind you. You're smarter than everybody else. And, I don't have that life.
I wasn't winning until brown belt. I like, even in brown belt, like when I went to, like, I was winning it locally, but I wasn't winning in IBJJF. I wasn't an awesome blue belt or purple belt. I was an average one. And I just didn't give up, and I honed in on psychology, and I said, I have to step my game up. I have to drill. I have to become better. And I have to put myself in atmospheres where there's better people that can help me get better. But people say, like, they look and they say, oh man, like, you're winning all the time. I wasn't always winning. Even, let's say, 3 years ago, in the IBJJF in the black belt division, I would get beat out first round, or I would maybe get a bronze medal. And then it happened for a year, maybe like beat out, bronze. And then the next year it was consistent bronze, and then maybe the odd silver. Then the year after was consistent silver and the odd bronze. And then it wasn't until like 24 months ago, it was gold. But it was never like that. I had to work, and I had to work beyond like what I ever thought was possible for myself. I wasn't always winning. The last 24 months I've been winning because I never gave up on myself.
This is the, I think, mind-blowing part behind conversations like this. I think oftentimes, again, what you mentioned, we focus on the end result. And many might look at you or many others and say, well, listen, he's so good, blah, blah, blah. And we just don't see what it took to get to this point. And I think that often is just disregarded, not even forgotten, but just disregarded, ignored, like disappears. And I think for those who listen to this conversation, I think it's so important for us to acknowledge the fact that we all sucked at some point.
For many, I sucked for 15 years, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did that feel?
I wouldn't say sucked, but I would say like I was not near the level that I am at now.
Yeah.
Right. And how did it feel? It felt like I just tried to take the emotion out of it. There's no emotion involved in this. If I was emotional about it, I would have quit a long time ago. Like, you just can't be when I would lose, I'd say, okay, I'm going to keep training. The next one has to be a win. And then it would be another loss. Then I say, okay, now I'm closer to a win. Then it would be a loss. And I'm like, okay, that's 2 in a row. Now the next one has to be a win. Then it was a loss. And then I'm like, okay, whoa. Now the next one, like, it has to be a win until I got the win. And then all of a sudden, it was like, okay, I got the win. And then it was loss. Okay, the next one has to be. The more losses I accumulate in a row, the next one has to be a win.
But look, many would give up a long time before this. Like, there is this stubbornness, grit, or perhaps just extreme motivation and drive forward. And I think that's often characteristic of like a growth mindset, focusing on the forward instead of, what sucks. Where is this sourcing? Like, where is the roots for Kyle behind this mental state?
Because when I think of myself, I am a martial artist. I'm not some guy living my life that dabbles in martial arts. I am a martial artist. There is no stopping. There is no finish line. This is what I do.
Define this for me. What does this mean, martial artist?
So when I was born, my father was a martial artist, and I grew up in the lifestyle right away of striking arts. In my teen years, my late teen years, I got into bad stuff and bad crowds and this and that. And what always pulled me out is I'm a martial artist. This isn't me. I'm a martial artist. So I always got back on track to who I am. And when I identify myself in my brain, I'm a martial artist. That's just what I do. I just train and I compete.
When did this start?
Pardon?
When did this start?
What's that?
The martial artist thought.
I guess it started in my early 20s when I was trying to, like your teen years, you're trying to find who you are. You dabble in this, source of music, and you dabble in this, and you try this sport, and you try that sport. It always just came back to martial arts for me. Right. So it's just, this is who I am. Like, I've been surrounded by martial arts my entire life. Martial arts has saved my life many times from getting in trouble and going down the wrong path. And, I just feel like this is, what I want to do with my life. And, I've always been into fitness as well. Like, I've been on a consistent lifting routine since I've been 13 years old. I remember being 13 years old and my parents bought me a weight set, and I would lift weights in my basement. And then when my parents would go to bed at night, I would go back downstairs and lift more weights so they didn't think I was crazy. And I was like reading like the Arnold Schwarzenegger Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding. And I would read like tuna was a good protein and oatmeal was a good carb. So I was like blending tuna and oatmeal with milk and drinking it. And like, I was just like, this is right. So I was just like, this is who I am.
The things we do.
Dude, I was blending tuna and oatmeal with milk.
Yeah. How did that taste?
Disgusting.
I mean, I love tuna,
in my head,
but something about those three, the combination just.
But my dad was jacked. My uncle was jacked. My other uncle was jacked. Everybody in my family was jacked. We had like natural genetics.
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm like, I need to be like jacked like them and a martial arts like my father. And so reading these encyclopedia of bodybuilding books, I just, this is protein, this is carbs. And so I knew I needed both. So I just blended them, and I didn't know what I was doing, but it was all trial and error leading up to today. If that didn't happen, I wouldn't be who I am today. Right?
Do you feel like there was a certain level of pressure from the family because of the fit lifestyle and the martial artist at the same time? And I don't mean necessarily anybody telling you to do, but the fact of you being a young teenager looking up to other male in the family and them having a certain status or image, did that push you in a certain direction?
There was no pressure. It was always a want. It was always a want. I wanted it. I had the option of doing whatever I wanted in life. I had the option of, being on the chess team or being on the basketball team or I had the option of doing whatever I wanted with myself.
Okay, well,
And
but then how does this lead you to who you are today? So like I'm thinking there are other 13 or 15-year-olds out in the world who freaking go to sleep instead of going to the basement and lift. Like they will have, I don't know, a normal quote unquote meal versus tuna and oatmeal. Like I mean, I
so
love your
what I was,
story, but like it sounds like you are
yeah,
nuts, or there is some motivator that
well, I am kind of nuts too, but, but I remember this specifically when I was 7 years old, my father took me to the theater and we watched Bloodsport in the theater when it first came out.
Oh, I love
And
that
I
movie.
was so fascinated. I thought right then, oh my God, Jean-Claude Van Damme.
That was
That's
it.
who I want to be. That's who I want to be. I had every move in that whole movie choreographed. I could choreograph every single fight scene in that movie. Like at
I would
10.
I would pay to see that.
I also had all the moves that Hulk Hogan would do and Macho Man and the Ultimate Warrior. I had all their moves choreographed. I was just fascinated with combat sports. That's just who I am deep down in my soul.
When was the first time where you were actually taking this seriously? So I feel like every boy or teenager goes through these stages of looking up at others, and whether it's football or I don't know, a movie star or martial artist or Arnold Schwarzenegger, and you know they look up to a role model, if you will. At which point this converts into something tangible where you are, well, look, like if I want to go in that direction, I have to take some action now and I have to do something.
When I was 10 years old, I trained at a Taekwondo academy called Leo Wong's Taekwondo. And there was one of my senseis named Richard Wong that I'm still in touch with today. And he was a Taekwondo champion. And he was only maybe 5 years older than me. And I wanted to be like him. And I trained under him and under his father at Leo Wong's Taekwondo. And 10 years old, or 11 years old and 12 years old, we had like a North American championship. It was called Karate Fights Diabetes. And I won both years in a row that I competed in it. And right then I knew that, well, leading up to that, I was already in it, like this is what I did. This is what I loved. There was no time that I'm like, okay, I need to, I've just been saturated in it and I just loved it. Like when I would go to Taekwondo class and spar, in my head, I was in Bloodsport. Like I was in the final Kumite, right? Like this is just how I've been thinking since I've been a child. But then when I started in jiu-jitsu, like I did judo too, like for 5 years before I got into jiu-jitsu. But when I got into jiu-jitsu, it was a whole new sport. So I'm like, man, I've been doing martial arts my whole life, and this is a whole new art. And I wasn't good at it because I was used to striking. And to me, it was hard because I had no idea about this jiu-jitsu. I had some judo, but I could get the fight to the ground, but then I didn't really know what to do.
Yeah. Hold on. Don't tell me anything about jiu-jitsu yet, because we'll talk about it in a second. Because what I want to get to here is, do you feel like that surrounding yourself by certain environment that really sets us with this core or root of who we become in the future? Because like I'm listening
no question.
I'm listening to your story. Your father, martial
No
artist,
question.
surrounded by fitness. You clearly are obsessed with that area, the fitness, martial arts, strong male individuals, role models. You want to be, present and very visible in that sense. And that,
Yeah. So
go ahead.
and even to add to that, while I'm going through my Taekwondo and my striking phases, I was dabbling in boxing and things like that as well. But then my best friend that I met when I was 7, he started doing judo at 7 because his grandfather, who he lived with, they lived 10 houses up the street from me. and his grandfather was a coral belt in judo. His name is Jim Walker, and he's the president of Ontario Judo. So every single day I would be at Ian's house, hanging out and living at his house, and his grandfather was saturated their lives in judo and was always like, come to the judo club, come to the judo club. And we used to go play on the mats and hang out on the mats, and I used to dabble in judo. Then when I was 16, 17, I really started getting into judo. So yeah, I was surrounded by fitness. I was surrounded by big jacked uncles. I was into bodybuilding. I was into the striking. I was into boxing. And then my best friend that I was at his house every day, his grandfather was a coral belt in judo, so I was surrounded by him, and he would show us things in the living room, and my entire life was surrounded by this stuff. Yeah, and this absolutely molded me.
So at which point jiu-jitsu comes along?
I would have been 22 years old, and this would have been about 2006. 2005 probably.
Why jiu-jitsu?
So I watched UFC 1 in my basement live on the black box. So my dad had, his buddies over because he was a martial artist, and his buddy RŌL brought over the black box and said, "Hey, it was a secret that there's this blood sport, this kumite that we're gonna watch tonight. It's a new thing." So they plugged it in, and all his buddies were down there, and I'm peeking through them and watching this, and I seen Royce Gracie, right? And I was 10 at the time because this was 1993.
Yeah.
And then, a year later, we're telling Ian's grandfather about this, and his grandfather was like, "Listen, judo is the closest thing to that." And so we started dabbling in that, right? There was no jiu-jitsu in Canada. Jiu-jitsu didn't come to Canada at that time. And then one day after judo class, I went to a store, an ice cream store called Reed's Dairy. And I was walking to get an ice cream, and I seen a sign that said Franco Bearing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I thought, oh shit, this is awesome. I've never seen this before, but I remember it from way back in the day. So I went down, and there was a couple guys training, Justin Bruckman, Richard Nanku, and Antonio Carvalho. And they were actually training for Shuto in Japan.
Oh, okay.
And they were doing MMA. So I went down there and said, "Hey guys, I want to join." And one of the guys said, "Come back tomorrow at 7 p.m. I came back the next day, and I had striking and I had judo, and I came back and I got my ass kicked. I got sent home with my ass on a silver platter, and I thought to myself right then, this is where I need to be. And it was 5 days a week since.
All right, walk me through that day. Walk me through that day. You show up 7 p.m. You have at that point you have extensive striking experience. At 22, you had Taekwondo at 10, even more exposure prior to that. So this is you're not a rookie. Like I would assume that you can handle yourself.
Yeah, and I was doing a lot of bar fighting and a lot of there was a lot of underground scene stuff that the judo guys at Maple Leaf Judo Club were into. So I was doing a lot of real fighting as well.
Okay, so you show up.
So I show up, and they say, "Come back the next day."
What's going through your mind?
I come back the next day in my judo gi, and I didn't know what to expect, and I rolled with some of these guys, and I just got my ass kicked, and I thought to myself,
do you think you can handle this before it starts? Like, what's in your mind? Like
I didn't know. Because I had been in martial arts, and I knew how good some judo guys were, and I would get tossed around in judo. Like there was some really good black belts that would beat my ass. I did some judo competitions. I knew I didn't have no ego. I knew that I was just I wanted to learn this new art, and so I seen it. It said Franco Bearing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I thought, man, let's go try it out. And when I tried it out, I was like, whoa, I literally just got dominated that day, and I just thought to myself, there's two types of people in this world, right? There's somebody that says, "Fuck that, I'm never coming back," and then somebody that says, "Man, this is what I need to know."
And the interesting part here is the more people I talk to, the ones who stick around for a long, long time, they are like, I need to figure this shit out. Like, what the hell was this?
Yeah, it was amazing. It's so like getting my butt kicked like that. It was awesome. It sucked at the time because I went home and I licked my wounds. But I came back and I came back and I came back and I came back. And at the time, it wasn't like he was trying to like recruit people for members. Like we were getting thrown to the wolves because these guys were training for Shuto in Japan, which was MMA in Japan, right? Because there was no featherweight divisions or lightweight divisions in the UFC at the time.
Right. This is
so it was all in Japan.
WEC, yeah.
Yeah, and like even at the time, I think the only MMA that was legal was in Quebec. It was illegal in the rest of the country. So yeah, and it was just it was a rough day on the mats. It was a rough 3 years on the mats. It took me eventually after 3 years, I eventually got my blue belt. And yeah, the rest is history.
What is so appealing to you behind this puzzle, if you will? Physical domination, you get destroyed. Mentally, you don't know what the hell is going on here. And this is not you are straight off the street. This is, I think, what really makes your story interesting. I think for most people who come into Jiu-Jitsu Academy today, some of them don't even know what Jiu-Jitsu is. But in your case, you have experience. Matter of fact, like when I'm looking at the dates I wrote down, like you have more than 10 years of experience of martial arts. Yes, but it's like you're not green as far as fighting. Like what it takes to engage into this exchange. And yet,
so ultimately it was kind of like, if I could learn this stuff, it was my little secret weapon to bring back to the judo club to beat some of those guys that were beating me.
Yeah.
Right? Like there were some guys like a guy named Richard. He was a big, huge, strong black belt, and he would throw me around like a rag doll on the judo mats. And this was like, if I could learn some of this, I could beat Richard. So it was like my little secret at the time. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So I dabbled in jiu-jitsu to get better at judo, but then it turned the other way around. It turned into more jiu-jitsu, and I dabbled in judo to help my jiu-jitsu. Yeah. But never in my mind did I ever think like of not doing this stuff or anything like that. Like this is just what I did.
The interesting part about your story is the fact that let me ask you, I guess, have you thought about quitting? Was there a point at any point where you just you have no desire, the candle went off, you don't want to do it, you're too tired, too exhausted, mentally depleted?
There's been a lot of times that I thought, man, what am I doing? What am I doing? I'll give you an example. Like when I was, I got my purple belt in 2013, and I had to take the entire 12 months off because I had a back injury. I had to like ice my back for like an hour just to fall asleep at night. So I had to take 12 full months off training. Man, I didn't think I was bouncing back. I had a couple like doctors telling me, "Oh man, you're not going to be able to do this anymore."
You didn't think you were coming back because you took time off, or you didn't think you were coming back because of the injury itself?
Because of the pain I was feeling.
Yeah.
I thought, how can I even I can't barely even go to sleep at night. How am I supposed to like do martial arts? And at the time when you're going through pain, you don't think it's going to heal.
How old are you back then?
2013. So that would have been, I guess
28,
29. Yeah. Yep.
I mean, that puts you a couple decades into quote unquote martial arts experience.
Yes.
To give something like this up, I mean, there has to be a substantial impact on your life.
Yeah, it was. I fell into a deep depression. It was very, very hard to come to terms with who I actually am. because I identified myself as a martial artist, and now I can't even do martial arts. It was tough. It was a tough time. It was a really tough time mentally. And then eventually I just healed up. And the second I was better, I was like, okay, I'm going to get back in there and try it out again. And I did. And, you know, it took me a few months to get back in shape and things like that. But, you know, that's it. I'm back. Right. So
What made you?
but then I've had a lot of injuries too since then. I've had, you know, every injury you can imagine. Right.
Well, first, I think that more injuries we have, and I don't wish this on anybody, but I do feel like, at least from my experience, more injuries I had, it was easier for me to come back from the next one than the one before.
Right.
Just mentally knowing what that process looks like and how you set yourself for success, what you are or are not able to do, and how do you structure the return process. But I feel like there's few reasons why people quit. One is priorities in life, and often surrounds with reasonings and excuses. But I think injury is one of those very interesting moments, if we experience it, because it's out of our control. There's really nothing we can do about it besides healing. It puts us in this very much so numb mindset, if you will, where we often stop caring about what we used to do. Depression often is a result of that. We are surrounded by very much so down-like attitude, and returning from that, at least what I've seen, it is extremely challenging. How do
Yeah.
you get through the fog or the mud of all of this to get back on the mat?
That's a good question. I don't know how I did it. Before that, in 2008 or 9, I tore my meniscus pretty bad. I had a bucket handle tear. I had a scope done. I was off the mats for probably 4 or 5 months at that time. But then once I healed up, I got back on the mats. But the whole back thing, that was a whole different ballgame. That was a whole different thing. Sitting down was agonizing, right? Just living my life was agonizing. So, yeah, bouncing back from that is, I really don't know how I did it.
Do you look forward to getting back at that time? Like, is this on your forefront of your mind? Like, I miss this. I want to get back. Or are you just like, I cannot stand my life right now, and like, just leave me
missed it.
alone?
Yeah, leave me alone. I missed it. But what I did was, me and my wife, we just fished, you know, every day. We went fishing because I enjoy fishing. My father, you know, we would fish a lot when I was growing up, and I was really good at fishing. And then me and my wife got into fishing, and that whole year I was, you know, fishing, and we bought so we were renting a little place, right beside a bay on Lake Ontario. So we were fishing there every day. You know, we would go out for a couple hours before work, after work, and we would fish, and we would catch pike and pickerel. And so that was like a nice little, mental getaway. But the whole time in the back of my head was jiu-jitsu. You know, it was a band-aid.
Yeah.
Fishing was a band-aid. But it helped me through it mentally because I had something to do. You gotta have another hobby. You have to have something else that you like. When you get hurt and you're off the mats, you have to supplement it with a hobby that you also enjoy until you bounce back. If you just sit around and get depressed, you might not bounce back.
Yeah.
You're going to let that depression sink in deep, right? But I had that other hobby. And again, I know today if I'm off the mats for a bit, I'm going to be right back to fishing. I'm going to do what I need to do to keep my mind sane because I will be back.
There is this healthy level of simplicity to everything that you're describing. Like, it kind of goes back to what you were talking about earlier. You can only control you. You can only control circumstances around you. And you can only change an outcome if you take action. And simplicity of this is really eye-opening in a sense, where today I think we often overthink things and we're trying to control things that completely off our control. And and it was just we go nuts, which leads into not such a good path. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I do agree with that. You have to be your own best friend, and you gotta be compassionate with yourself, and you have to make sure that you do what you do to keep sane.
Okay.
Right? You gotta be compassionate with yourself, and not. You gotta know when your mind's slipping. You gotta know when you're falling into depression, and it's only up to you to bounce out of it, to get out of it. Even if you're injured, you're off the mats, whatever, you got to go do something to keep your mind sane. Right? Because nobody else is going to do it for you. They're going to say, oh, well, keep your head up and we're rooting for you. That doesn't help. You have to be your own best friend. You have to do what you have to do to stay mentally sane. Also, I say now that there's no emotion involved in martial arts. So if I'm hurt and I'm off the mats now, I can't get down about it because that's just being emotional about it. And, there's no emotion involved in it. And that's why when I compete, I compete for real because it's not, there's no emotion involved, right? Days that I suck on the mats and my cardio's not there, or this happens and that happens, and there's weeks at a time that I'm just not myself. Right? People get down on it. Oh, I don't know what happened. And oh, this and all that. Can't think like that. There's no emotion involved. Suck it up. Get back out there tomorrow. And everybody too thinks like I had a bad day on the mat. So they look back and they think what they did wrong. I don't look back on what I did wrong. I never look back. Even on my competition matches, I don't watch old matches because that's going backwards. I'm only worried about going forward. Okay, so yeah, I never go backwards anymore. I always go forward. So I don't watch old matches because I'm worried about going forward. An example to that is somebody the other day was like, oh, my jiu-jitsu is falling off and my cardio's bad, and what I filmed my roll and I'm watching my roll where I went wrong. And I'm like, man, as soon as your class was done, don't look back on your role that you did. What you need to look forward to is what your post-workout shake, your post-workout meal, getting 8 hours sleep, getting back to what you're doing to better yourself, not looking back. If you're looking back, that means you're not looking forward. So that's the kind of mindset that I have now is I don't look back on anything. I only look forward on things.
Many would say that you have no heart, you have no feelings. This is a very emotionally detached approach, and perhaps it brings a lot of success. No question about it.
Within my performance of martial arts, there is no emotion involved. But the second I'm off the mats and I'm in my world, I'm emotional. I'm like a normal person.
So how do you create that separation? How do you create this very much so action-driven environment?
It's just happened over time, and like making the mistakes of looking back and then the looking back and then not getting a good sleep because I'm worried about what happened earlier today, and then and then my sleep, I'm like, why didn't I sleep well? And then that affects tomorrow's training. So I have to stop looking back on things and creating my own anxiety. Right? So it just develops over time. Like I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 20 years. I've been doing martial arts, 36 years. And it just develops over time. Yeah. It develops over letting yourself down over and over and over again.
Which would mean that we can't avoid suffering. It's part of life.
Embrace the suffering because it will make you better.
Yeah. Embrace the suck. Embrace the grind.
Embrace it. Yeah, because like, are we doing this to feel good? Like, oh yeah, to get this emotional energy from it, or are we doing it to actually become better martial artists?
Well, I think.
What do you want from it?
And I think this is where a lot of people see this differently, right? I think this is where a lot of people, look at this not in that sense.
And I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying this is how I do it for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But look, there was something to be said about this. Like, I think every day when we wake up, we should think about what am I going to do better today than I did yesterday? Like coasting through life, it gets us nowhere. Matter of fact, many would say it takes us backwards because we continue aging, time passes by, right? I mean, us having expiration date is the only certain thing in life, right? So
Yes.
if you're not getting better, you're probably going backwards. So like, what are you going to do about it? I mean, that's an important question for many people. And I think especially today, not many think about it that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So time passes by. You go from all these injuries at purple, brown surfaces, and then you get closer to that black belt. Do you find, or did you find certain level of a word, success, satisfaction when that black belt came up?
Well, when I got my brown belt, I thought to myself, oh shit, I'm almost a black belt. I need to go back to square one.
You had that thought too, huh?
Yeah. And I had to go back to square one and relearn jiu-jitsu all over again from a brown belt mindset. Because the white belt and the blue belt that I learned at the time, I only learned it from a white belt and blue belt mindset. So I don't want to be a black belt with like shitty fundamentals. Because my jiu-jitsu today is based on sharpened fundamentals. Right? So yeah, when I got my black belt, it was just the beginning. Like I kind of see it like white belts like grade 1, 2, 3, blue belts grade 4, 5, 6, purple belts grade 7, 8, 9, brown belts high school. When you get your black belt, you just graduated high school and now you're actually ready to learn. All your colored belts, you're just learning how to learn, just like in school. All the grades, you're just learning how to learn. So when you go to university, you can actually like hone in on what you're interested in. Right? So if that answers your question, I think I just went off.
I'm processing. I'm thinking about this because there's a lot of truth. I mean, I don't think I know one black belt who doesn't describe it in such way. The black belt is essentially going back and refining things, relearning, reconsidering things from the very beginning. You're more interested in what you missed than what is ahead of you, if that makes sense, right?
Absolutely.
So why is it like this? I mean, like, the reality of life is, if you compared your last day as a brown belt and your first day as a black belt, nothing changed. I mean, nothing changed. Yet, you ask most of the black belts and they will say, your life got flipped upside down.
When I was a 4-stripe brown belt, I knew jiu-jitsu. When I got my black belt, I was like, what the hell's going on? I'm now a white belt, black belt. It's like a whole, like, it's no different than in grade 12, you think you know everything, and then you go to university and you're now like the rookie in university. You're like, oh my God, it's my first day, and you're nervous, and right?
Why is it like this? I mean, why are we psyching ourselves like this? Because in a sense, this is all in our heads, right? Because in reality, nothing really has changed besides the focus or the priority.
I think jiu-jitsu is different in that aspect because it's constantly evolving. There's fads of things that are going on, like the 2012 was the Berimbolo fad, then the 2013 was the Spider Guard fad, and then 2015 was like the reverse De La Riva fad. And there's constantly evolution, whereas like martial arts like judo and karate and things like that, there's like structured curriculums, right? Whereas like you don't veer off of the curriculum because this is how it goes. So when you're a black belt in judo, you know the curriculum.
Yeah.
Whereas when you become a black belt in jiu-jitsu, shit has evolved so much and still is evolving at a rapid rate that you don't know what's going on because you're not up to par.
So do you feel that's a good thing as far as the evolution of the art of sport? Or is this really setting us for failure in some sense because the ones who are black belts might fall behind?
Yeah. I feel like I compete because I'm trying to evolve as a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu artist.
But let's be honest.
Feel like,
let's be honest, Kyle. Like, are you anticipating to compete when you're 70?
Yeah.
Well, good for you then.
Because competing is only playing the game of jiu-jitsu. That's it. What else is it?
But even
The word competition throws people for a loop. It's only doing jiu-jitsu.
But even
if you can roll it.
But look, even in that aspect, the limitations they are put by the environment, and I mean aging, do not allow us to do certain things that jiu-jitsu, the direction in which jiu-jitsu evolves. Like, fine, leg locks, I think anybody can learn how to work. But berimbolo, I'm sorry, but I don't see 7-year-old doing berimbolo. I don't do
berimbolo.
Me neither. But I'm saying there are certain evolutions with this art and sport that aging works against us, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So doesn't that mean by definition of it that we will fall behind?
Yes, I understand what you're saying. And you are correct, but I also see it like, you evolve in your own game. I don't need to play somebody else's game. I want to sharpen my own game. And like we have 60-year-olds that are still competing because to them it's just jiu-jitsu, right? It's just jiu-jitsu. And that's why people get anxiety, because they see the word competition. They're like, I'm going to go compete. I see it like, I'm going to go play jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of like, I see it like this. If you are 60 years old and you can play catch and you can hit a ball, but then I say, hey, do you want to go play a game of baseball? You're like, oh, fuck that. Too old for that.
Yeah.
But yet you can play catch and you can hit a ball.
Yeah. It's the lifestyle.
That's right.
It's the surrounding. It's not the specific activity. And not any different than sitting on the couch watching TV versus going for a walk. It's exactly the same thing. Somebody who is completely inactive in their life, going down the stairs is going to be extremely challenging. But somebody who walks every single day, they can probably even run a marathon, even though they didn't train for it. So, like,
you don't have to be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's all about that mindset and what the situations, environments that you put yourself in. I 100% would agree with you. What I was more saying that our abilities disappear, right? Because we do get older.
But you're also competing against other guys your same age.
That is true.
Right? Yeah. So like, I'm not thinking, okay, when I'm 70, do I want to compete against a 20-year-old? No.
Oh, yes, you do.
When I'm 70, I want to roll against, you know what I'm saying? I wish I could.
I mean, look at Magaton. He's still going hard. I mean, look, my head goes off to this guy.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I want to be like. I want to do that.
Yeah.
Right? And to him, it's like, he even goes in the adult division.
Oh, I know.
Because to him, it's just playing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about winning or losing.
No, as a matter of fact, I don't think he's won. I haven't looked up recently, but I don't think he's won anything substantial in a while, because this is not his objective. He wants to simply be there. He wants to have that engagement.
Yeah.
So why do you? So this is again like same question, but like, if this is so simple, why doesn't everybody do it?
Because it's not for everybody.
Okay, so let's pivot that. Is jiu-jitsu for everybody?
No.
Why not? I mean, you hear this all the time, everywhere. Jiu-jitsu is for everybody. Try jiu-jitsu. It's for the smaller guy to control the bigger guy. You know, it's for women, and like size doesn't matter. Like, all these phrases that you hear all around, are these all fake?
It depends how that individual sees it, I guess.
Yeah.
I really can't answer that question. That's a tough question.
So who is jiu-jitsu for?
Jiu-jitsu is for anybody that wants to learn the art and defend themselves.
Yeah.
Really, like, if you want self-defense, learn jiu-jitsu. Once you become decent at defending yourself, then it becomes a game that you can play with other people. But again, like, golf's an easy sport. Not golf's for everybody, but it's super easy. Like, it's easy as in, like, you swing the club, but it's very intricate details of the sport.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same idea as jiu-jitsu. It's very intricate details. But the basics of it isn't hard, but it's also not for everybody.
So would you call jiu-jitsu easy then?
No. I would see learning jiu-jitsu as like learning a new language. Learning any language is not easy, but once you're efficient at the language, you can fluently talk to somebody very easily. But at the beginning, it's really mind-boggling.
Yeah, certainly is.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly is.
Jiu-jitsu is not. Jiu-jitsu is Jiu-jitsu is easy depending on the level of person that you're training or competing against. It's easy if you're training with somebody that's lower level than you, and it's hard as fuck if you're rolling with somebody that's better than you, right? But I don't know. You got some good ones today?
I listen. I love digging deep.
I love it.
I love digging deep. I mean, it's
yeah. You're making me smoke out of my ears here.
I love digging deep.
Yeah,
No,
I like it.
But look, like this whole thought here is there's plenty, thousands, if not millions, of people who are interested in jiu-jitsu. They've never done it. They see it everywhere. Jiu-jitsu is becoming more and more popular, but at the same time, the rates of people quitting jiu-jitsu, it's still high. Like
Yeah.
I think there's a very common conversation between all academy owners or instructors in general. Like people want to try and then they give up. So like, I scratch my head. It's like, how is this really too hard for everybody? Well, maybe it is. And maybe it's okay to say it is hard. But at the same time, I feel like we can do hard things.
I feel like also the whole term of like jiu-jitsu is for everybody, it's kind of like a marketing thing as well. Because the reality is, martial art was created for martial law. It was to kill. It was to survive, right? Yeah. So like I feel like this whole, jiu-jitsu is for everybody. It's to beat the bigger guy and da 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 da. I feel like that's like the art in North America has been watered down to make it family-oriented art. Because it wasn't really a family-oriented art when I started. There was no family orientation when I fucking got my ass kicked.
I said stories on the show from when I was starting, and it's there was nothing friendly about jiu-jitsu. Matter of fact, like I've said this publicly, I was told flat out, you will never make it to the black belt. Like, statements like this were common, and it's just, it was what it was. If you couldn't hang, you should leave. See ya. And over a few decades, we have changed that. Now the question is that a good thing?
I think for the art of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it's not necessarily a good thing, but as a business aspect and spreading it is a good thing. So it's a fine line on like, there's different approaches to it. Like not everybody wants to be a savage competitor. Some people want to just do it for self-defense and to get in shape. So there are different angles to it. And I do think it is a good thing that we cater to that now. That way it can be for everybody in a certain aspect. But we also have to have the realization that this is real combat sport. This is for survival, and there's no joke about it. There's got to be those two things that a practitioner needs to understand, that there's both. Right?
It's a fine balance.
There is a very fine balance.
Yeah, you can't grow something without compromising. Hey, Kyle. So we got cut off during our last chat. So we kind of revisiting this one more time quickly, just kind of wrap up our conversation. But it's been in a few days since the last time we talked, the first part of all this, and today. But the worlds are right around the corner now. You ramping up your training. You moment ago before we just got online, you said that you just finished your session. How are you feeling?
I feel awesome. I'm at the peak right now. I compete in 5 days from now. I just finished 90 minutes of hard rounds, 5-minute rounds, 1 minute rest for 90 minutes. I push the pace, 100% effort every round. Whether it's like, I'm trying not to rest at all. I'm trying to like pass as hard as I can. And if I get the guard pass, I let the guy re-guard and then I pass again and just 100% go, 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 go the entire 90 minutes. I'm feeling great. I'm recovering super fast. I'm on fire, man. I don't see anybody being able to score on me at all. Like, I just can't fathom it right now.
That's a really high confidence that I hear. And again, last time we talked, the confidence was quite high already, but today I feel like it's even tenfold higher. Where does this come from? Like, where's this high confidence and nobody is scoring on me?
Well, in the past 16 IBJJF events, in the past 12 to 18 months, I think I've been scored on twice, and I'm way more ahead now than I have been then. All those competitions were just like a part of training. I didn't do training camps for them. I just jumped in the competition as an open mat. But now I did a real training camp and I'm ready to go. I'm not injured except my fingers are pretty messed up, but I'll tape those up and suck that up. But I'm ready to rock. I got my game plan together. I got multiple strategies for multiple different opponents' positions and stances will dictate a strategy that I'm going to come in with. I'm ready to go, man. I've never been more readier in my life, and I wish it was right now.
5 days, long time.
Yeah. 5 days of rest and recovery and, letting the tissues heal and relax. And
do you feel like you can sustain this mindset of nobody scoring on me for years to come? Can you be on top for extensive period of time, or is there a time to let go?
I don't know. I don't look ahead like that. I look at I live in the present. And like what's going on now, my next goal to achieve is World's Masters, and whatever happens. If I don't succeed and I don't achieve my goal, that's okay, because I've done everything in my power to achieve that. And then once World's Masters is done, then I'm on to the next goal. I'm not worried about 5 years from now or anything like that. I'm worried about one goal at a time.
I feel like this is where a lot of people fail, in a sense of they are so concerned about far future versus focusing on the present, focusing on this moment, focusing on now.
I just take one day at a time and just one competition at a time. And that's it. I'm worried about right now. I'm worried about doing everything in my power to achieve my next goal. And then once that's achieved or not, then I go to the next goal. So
do you have a lot of self-reflection after an event like this, after a test or evaluation or whatever, however we slice this or call this, after a tournament? Do you sit down and we briefly talked about this before, but do you dissect and analyze what happened, what took place to make adjustments for the future?
No, I don't actually. I don't stop and look backwards. I only look in the present or ahead. Because whatever happened in the past happened, and I can't go back and change that. And I don't really reflect on what I did wrong. I just work on trying to improve every aspect of myself and my game. But I don't go backwards. I only go forward.
Is that how you recommend it to your students to take a look at it, especially in the beginning stages of jiu-jitsu?
I tell my students, just go compete and just have fun with it. And if you lose, that's okay, because that's called taking your jiu-jitsu medicine. And I actually had a student recently. He lost 2 matches he's a purple belt. He's a really tough guy. He's awesome in the training room. And he went and competed and he lost both matches and he was devastated. And, I almost had to walk him off the edge of a cliff. You know what I mean? But I told him, I said, man, that's okay. The effort that you put in to get to this day makes you better. The competition doesn't dictate whether you're good at jiu-jitsu or not. And And also I told him too, I said, I've had more losses than you have training rounds in the training room, but those are things that he doesn't see because he only started 7-8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I've had so many losses in the past, and all it was just practice to become a black belt competitor. Right. So it's okay to lose. And that's why I'm like, I'm going to bring it at World's Masters, and I'm going to do the best I can do. And if I lose, that's okay. Because if I lose, that means I lost to somebody who also puts in just as much work as I do. And good for them. Like, it's okay. It's okay to lose. You got to be compassionate with yourself as well, right?
Yeah, and we talked about this in the last time. It is the fact of losing doesn't define us necessarily. It is just part of the process, and a lot of people do take it very seriously, and they take it very emotionally in a sense. And letting go of those emotions sometimes is very challenging. We feel like a failure. We feel like somebody else is looking at us, our family, our teammates, our instructors. I mean, the weight, I feel like the weight of disappointing others is heavier than an actual loss. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And you know what? That's where people like get anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
They think about the competition, and they get anxiety because they're worried about what other people will think. And you can't worry about that. You just got to worry about like what you do. Just go have fun. Because regardless if you win or lose, if you win, a couple people are going to say congratulations. If you lose, nobody cares. In like right now, nobody cares that I lost at brown belt 8 years ago in said tournament. Nobody even remembers that. So it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
And we historically even look at the best of the best in the world, jiu-jitsu and non-jiu-jitsu related, like barely anybody ever remembers who lost and why they lost, right? Like I think that kind of gets filed away, and it's harder on ourselves. We are harder on ourselves than anybody would ever think about us.
Yeah, and you know what? Actually, when I was a blue belt, I was going through the tough end of the learning curve, and it was really tough. I would accumulate. I think we talked about this before. I would accumulate losses and losses and losses, and my wife bought me a pendant for a chain that I had, and it was a Hickson Gracie quote, and it said, "True strength isn't always shown through victory. Stand up, try again, and display strength of heart." And I will never forget that, and I still have that chain upstairs, right? So it doesn't, like, winning doesn't dictate how good you are at jiu-jitsu. Like, you just might, like, if you win, you just beat somebody that you're better than. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like it doesn't dictate anything. Competition is just, a goal that you achieve, set out for yourself, but it doesn't really dictate how great of a human you are. Let's face it, right? It's just a sport, right?
And again, if we look at this even from professional perspective, I mean, Michael Jordan or Wayne Gretzky or any other Tiger Woods, they probably lost a lot of significant events, and yet many look at
Michael Jordan got cut from high school basketball. He wasn't good enough.
He wasn't good enough, right? How ironic is that?
And that was the same with me at blue belt. I sucked. I was good in the training room, but on competition mat, I couldn't pull the trigger.
And that's another factor that I think a lot of people don't talk about, that you can be really, really exceptional in the training room and you step onto the competition mat and things change, and vice versa. I've seen students who are like, no offense to anybody, but mediocre in the training room, and they go and outperform everyone when it comes to a public stage or like a competition.
Yeah, and it's because they don't let nerves and emotions get to them where everybody else does. So they have the edge. You can't evolve, like, you can't like mix emotions in with this. There's no emotions involved in this, right? And that's why it really doesn't matter if you win or lose. If you win, you can't get overly happy about it. And if you lose, you can't get down about it. That's why, again, when I get my hand raised, you don't see me smile, because I expected to win because I trained so hard, but that's it. The next day, people say like, "Oh, Kyle, how's it feel to win that tournament?" I'm like, well, that's in the past. That was yesterday. I'm already on to the next thing, right? There's no I don't let myself get high and then low, high and then low, that roller coaster of emotion. I don't let that happen. I just like want to get out and achieve my goal. And if I achieve my goal, I'm happy for the day. I go have some cheesecake and I celebrate that day. But that's it. The next day, it's on to the next goal. It's already like the medal's on my dresser and that's it. Like my American Nationals medals, as soon as I won American Nationals, they went on the table and focus on the next goal. You know, I haven't even really looked at them since. You know what I mean?
Very driven, very goal-driven mindset that you project.
And you know what? It comes from just the want to win and compete at the best of my ability, and years of not being able to do it has driven me to seek out sports psychology, to seek out everything that I needed to do mentally to win, because I already train hard. I already work hard. I already have the skills. I already know all the moves that all the other guys know. So it comes down to mindset.
It truly does. It truly
does. Yeah.
It truly does. Well, Kyle, you know, as we kind of, you know, packaging this whole conversation from a previous and this time, you know, I think it is important to, first of all, I would love to hear from you after the Worlds. I would love to hear what their experience looks like. There was a lot of passion that radiates from you as you approach this test, as you approach this event. But I think it's really important, really. I think, and everybody can hear this in your voice and in your stories. There's a lot of passion behind all of this, and I think the passion. I guess I was reflecting on this entire conversation. I think the passion is not necessarily even about jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is more of a vehicle. Your passion really radiates from being focused and helping people and not being dragged down through mud, through negativity and things that happen and we can't control. Am I even close on this?
Yeah, absolutely. It's about focus and yeah, just setting goals for yourself and being hyper focused on achieving goals, whatever that may be, whether it's golf or it's hockey or it's, you know, work or whatever it is. I feel like you just need to be hyper focused. Successful people are hyper focused on whatever goal it is, right? But my main thing that I'm coming into this tournament with, and all my tournaments with, is gratitude. I am thankful for the opportunity to compete. I'm thankful that I have a body that I'm able to compete with. I'm thankful for the opponents that I have that's going to help me get better and help me achieve goals in the future. And I think my success at this point comes from being grateful for the opportunities that present themselves. And when opportunities present themselves, you gotta take it and run. And that's why I've worked so hard, because I need to seize the moment and take these opportunities.
Well, I got to tell you, it's very refreshing to hear someone like you speak on this.
Thank you.
I think gratitude is so underestimated these days. I think a lot of people do take things for granted. There is this high level of you know, expectations and really people want everything now at this moment without hard work and you know, it's, I think, a post product of the society that we live in and the environment that we find ourselves in. But hearing somebody saying that gratitude is one of the most important things, it's really refreshing. It's really refreshing to me. So I appreciate you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you, everything that you do, and I appreciate you being here. And even though some technical difficulties, I find this one of the most refreshing conversations that I've had in a while. So I do appreciate you.
Thank you.
Kyle, where can anybody find you? Where are you to be found? On social media, websites, anywhere? If anybody wants to connect with you, perhaps even, you know, just mental state before and after competition. And I feel like you could be a phenomenal resource for a lot of guys who do listen to this, who are in the point of struggle and getting themselves on the right path. Where can you be found?
So you can find me on Instagram at bull, BULL _ Sleeman, SLEEMAN, Bull Sleeman. I'm also on Facebook under Kyle Sleeman. I have a YouTube channel, but I don't post a lot of videos on there. It's under Kyle Sleeman or Bull Sleeman as well. But mainly Instagram or Facebook, you can get a hold of me there.
And as always, I will post all the links in the show notes of this episode. So if you guys would like to connect with Kyle, you want to reach out and use him as a resource, I encourage you. What a great mind, great motivator, great coach, great instructor, and such a driven mindset. I mean, that's mind-blowing to me. So
thank you very much.
Good for you. And look, thanks for being here. I don't know if I should or should not say good luck, but whatever you do, make sure that nobody scores a point on you, because I'll be watching, and when your hand goes up, I'll do little, I'll have a little victory. We just talked, and it kind of is going to be kind of cool stuff. So, Kyle, do what you do. Don't stop. I appreciate you. Many others do, and keep motivating people. We need more people like you around.
Thank you, Professor. I really appreciate your time.
Let's wrap this up for today. Kyle, we'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for listening to RŌL Radio. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave us a review and help us make the show even more amazing. For future episodes, check out our website and follow us on all major podcast platforms. Take care.